Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the spell Flesh to Stone.
I was turned to stone, by a Medusa or something, or a
Not
Gorgon.
really.
Was Medusa a Gorgon? Yeah, it took a while.
Well, I've talked about this with somebody else. Yes, she was a Gorgon, but D&D, she is a Medusa. Like that's just
Yeah.
a creature, and a Gorgon is like a mechanical bull or something. I don't know. Weird.
Listen, I don't know either. There's D&D pulls from all kinds of things and got a lot of things just actively wrong, and then was like, nah, this is just what it's gonna be forever though, and that's just we stuck with it. So Flesh to Stone is a 6th level spell for warlocks and wizards. It has a minute duration with concentration. Takes an action to cast for cast range. Transmutation School requires verbal somatic material components, which was a pinch of lime, water, and earth, which is like you're mixing a drink but muddy. You attempt to turn one creature that you can see within range into stone. If the target's body is made of flesh, which I love that we have to have that prerequisite in D&D.
Yeah, you do, though.
Yeah, you do. The creature must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, it is restrained as its flesh begins to harden. On a successful save, the creature isn't affected. So initially, all this does is force the creature to save. If it passes, nothing happens. If it fails, it's restrained. Okay, great. What next? A creature restrained by the spell makes another Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. If it successfully saves against the spell 3 times, spell ends. If it fails the save 3 times, it is turned to stone and subjected to the petrified condition for the duration. For the duration, which is a real bummer. The successes and failures don't need to be consecutive. Keep track of both until it collects 3 of a kind. If the creature is physically broken while petrified, it suffers from similar disformities if it reverts to its original state. If you maintain your concentration on the spell for the entire possible duration, the creature is turned to stone until the effect is removed. So, most of what this is a saber die to restrain with no other meaningful text because there's no shot it's happening. That's just it's a pain in the butt to track. It takes usually 4 to 5 rounds to figure out the outcome, and I don't think this is. No.
Most of all, it just doesn't deliver on the fantasy. When I think Flesh to Stone, it's zap, boom, done. But it takes forever.
It takes so long. So at its best case scenario, the creature is getting 3 turns. 3 turns at least. That's so many turns.
What
the save is at the end of the turn, so you would make it fail, or you make it to save. If it fails, it starts the paralysis thing. Then it gets a turn, does its things on its turn while restrained, and then it makes a save. And if it fails the save, it does that 2 more times, which means it gets at least 3 turns. If it gets at least 3 turns, it can break your concentration. If it breaks your concentration, all the effect ends.
Now, what level is this?
6.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Because like I said at the beginning, this is a saber die restrained, and probably
we have
nothing
saber die polymorph. That's a thing at 4th level.
Yeah.
Make him a squirrel instead. That's way better.
Or web. I think that's level 2. That's not even saber die. That's just straight up restrained.
It's great.
And what's the range on this?
It's 60 foot.
Yeah, that's not great either. I'm just thinking, maybe cast on somebody far away and see what happens. You're not in battle. You're not in combat. You're just I got this spell. I want to use it.
The bored evil wizard is just going around feeble-minding people, flesh to stoning people just to see what happens, just ruining society one day at a time with horrific atrocities. So, we can briefly cover what restraint does. A restrained creature's speed is 0, so if it fails the initial save, it's not moving anytime soon, so that's technically something. Attack rolls against it have advantage. It has disadvantage on its attack rolls. Neat. Dex saves are made at disadvantage too. Yeah, that's a mediocre to fine condition. You can get it a lot cheaper, like you just said. So, I don't want to spend a 6th level spell slot on this. And then if it does get petrified, so a petrified creature is transformed along with any of its non-magical object it's wearing or carrying into a solid inanimate substance. Its weight increases by a factor of 10 and it stops aging, so you can put someone on ice with this. The creature is incapacitated and can't move, speak, and is unaware of its surroundings, so that's neat. Attack rolls have advantage against the rock, and it automatically fails strength and dex saves. It has resistance to all damage, and it is immune to poisons and diseases. So, conceivably, maybe what you do is you stick this on somebody that you're we need you to be alive in 150 years for something. So you petrify them. You then leave them there for a while, and then you dispel magic, and everything's fine. That could work.
Or more, somebody else does that.
Yeah. Maybe they do it to you, and you're like, great, I'll see you in 2.5 centuries.
So I want to meet
Time
my
travel?
great grandchildren.
Is that there might be like a cute thing you can do with like glyph of warding, where like you said it's conditioned to be a 250 years passes, and it casts the dispel magic that frees you from this. That could be cute. And you make like a bunch of little stasis chambers for your party, and you're like, all right, we're gonna time travel forward in time, assuming that no one touches these petrified rocks.
Yeah.
Because if something bad happens to us, we're gonna be very sad.
This is the astral projection of time travel.
Yeah, it really is. Especially considering you have to just sit there for however long you want to go. It's not really traveling through time, it's just being petrified for a long time. So yeah, that's something, I guess. From a world building perspective, it's neat that this exists, but there had to be a cooler, a better way to do this, right? Like, this is not
I mean, it's a 6th level spell. Then I mean, why not just zap stone? That's
yeah, save or petrify seems really reasonable to me whenever you can still maintain concentration for the full minute, right? Like, if you had to concentrate on it for the full duration to get them to be gone forever, this being a saber die seems reasonable to me.
But that's not the world we live in.
No.
Maybe we should turn ourselves to stone for 20 years and see if Wizards of the Coast improves this spell.
I don't have a lot of faith that will occur. I'm somewhat convinced if a spell is like brought in from older editions, isn't a cantrip or a first level spell slot, it will be largely ignored for all of design. Like, I'm pretty confident no one is going to change Flesh to Stone in the coming D&D 1, just because no one casts it already anyway because of the 6th level spell slot. Yeah, I get it. Why put the time on things?
The reason is because it sucks.
Yep, sure does.
This is a self-perpetuating cycle.
I mean, it also, again, needing to be level 11 to get this is a little ways into the game that most people don't even play to, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there's diminishing returns past, like, 5th level stuff, where it's like, yeah, there's not much reason to design for it whenever such a small percentage of the player base actually uses it, but that's a whole different conversation. And still doesn't excuse this from being utter trash, so. Yeah, maybe don't put this in your character sheet.
Yeah, I mean, is there any scenario you can see where this is useful for its intended purpose?
Intended purpose?
Like turning people to stone. Like,
if you're happy enough with the restraint and you otherwise can't damage something, I think that's where it's like, okay, we need this villain to die. We can't damage it, which there aren't a lot of things in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition that cannot be damaged. I would argue there should be more, because I think it's a fun and kind of encounter to play into, is dealing with more complex problems like villains that can't take damage makes the solution to an encounter have to be something that isn't necessarily damage. And that definitely is a lot of design space for building encounters that way. That doesn't really not how 5th edition works. 5th edition currently is just kind of like, you throw a bunch of hit points to the party, and they deal a bunch of hit points to them, and you win the encounter. And that's fine, but I'm bored of that. I want to do more complex things. If you have more complex things to do, this spell could be fun in those environments. Those just don't really exist all that frequently. But hey, sure, maybe you have to find a way to kill a big bad and don't want them to be damaged. Maybe a big bad possesses the body of, like, you know, a person that you really need to not hurt, so you flush to stone them, restrain them, stick them in a closet, and hope that solves the problem.
Or maybe you're just in over your head, and this is a Hail Mary. The little mini game becomes, all right, I'm going to
stall for 4 rounds.
Yes, exactly. Keep me protected. We cannot defeat this guy with regular damage. We're going to die. I got this one last ditch effort idea. Let's go for it.
If you're ever in a situation where you're going to die and you get 4 rounds at least, ooh, I don't know what kind of encounter that looks like, but yeah, I don't know if you were gonna die.
It's because I didn't have Gift of the Ever Living Ones.
Or you didn't get the extra HP.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more of it's because you put this on your character sheet. That's why you're about to die. So you don't have a better 6th level spell to actually engage with the fight.
All right. Well, you know what? For me, like what you said about the unkillable creature and, you know, my little scenario there that's probably never going to happen. That's keeping it off of a 1 for me.
No, it's not keeping it off of a 1 for me. This is a 1. This is trash. This is Garbo.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But yeah, you talked me up to a 2, and then I talked me up to a 2 as well.
Yeah, all right. Hot trash.
Yes, that was our ratings. All right. Anything else to say about Flesh to Stone?
Don't take it?
Yeah, probably not. All right, that was Flesh to Stone. Thank you, Seb, and thank you everyone for joining us. Let us know what you think of the spell down in the comments, and then go hit the subscribe and the like buttons and all that. And
watch all the other videos too. There are a billion of them.
Do
really. I think we've built up a good amount of banter that is greatly enjoyable, even if D&D may not be your thing. So hey, check out our banter. Our banter's great.
Yeah. Do that. All right. Yeah, this is an example of great banter. I'm fucking it up. All right. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns and Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.